Well, good morning, guys. Once again, it is I, the chairman, bringing you another update on physical review. And this time it is a good one because through um, scheduling and just timing working out, I received 4 films over the last 2 days, Monday and Tuesday. Today is Wednesday. Straight off the press as well, sort of, from Europe. And Monday I got in from Amazon, Germany, The Man Who Killed Hitler and Then Bigfoot, and Paul Verhoeven's Showgirls on 4K, the You Don't Know Me edition. And what's really neat about these German physical media releases, like Dieter has been showing, is that they come in these media book formats, and so it's actually a book. Actually, there's a little insert here for something called Spacewalker. Not sure what that is, but you have we got some more. I guess it's probably a Korean film, Mojin, The Last Legend, Dance to Death, and it's Spacewalker, Das Ultimum in Action, the Cape Light Film Highlights. And I also have Old Boy. And so what it is that they have the discs on one side here, and then an actual book, like you would find as a booklet in your other physical media releases, but it's all in one volume, which is really nice. I don't know why they don't do it here. Maybe because they got to press it as a book. I don't really think it's going to cost all that much more to do it as a book. Only unfortunate thing is I don't read German, so but anyway. So you got the 4K on the last, I guess, page on the inside of the back cover. And then here you have an alternate key art. And this film's pretty interesting. Stars Sam Elliott and Aidan Turner. Sam Elliott as the main character, and Aidan Turner plays his younger self in World War II. And definitely looking forward to giving this one a watch. And but also, I've been waiting to get this one, Showgirls. And once again, it is also in the media book format. So you have the discs here, and then you have the book. So yeah, this is this video will definitely be not safe for work, and a little bit of a error. They didn't finish the cutting on this page here. I noticed that when I open it up, it's like, oh, okay, whatever. Seen that before. No big losses. I won't read these, but and then on the back cover, you have the You Don't Know Me documentary Blu-ray on its own separate Blu-ray disc. And but also, really hot off the presses, just got in from Zavvi, the Studio Canal Steelbook of Finally, the one that we've all been waiting for, the 4K restoration of Paul Verhoeven's classic Basic Instinct. So you on the back you have the infamous ice pick, a brutal murder, a brilliant killer, a cop who can't resist the danger. And so inside you have the 4K, the film on 4K. You have the Blu-ray, and then you also have the special edition. Sorry, the special features on Blu-ray, I should say. And then on the inside, you have a picture of the infamous interrogation of Sharon Stone as Catherine Trammell. And the whole inside is just a black and white picture of that. And then also from Amazon Germany as well, had to get the Snyder cut of Justice League. I kind of snoozed on ordering this from Zabi for the UK version, because like we all kind of assumed that Warner Brothers wouldn't be dicks and not release this as they should on 4K physical media in the United States. But unfortunately to no one's surprise, they have chosen not to. And as time goes on, it doesn't look like they will release it. So you got to go elsewhere. And I went to Amazon Germany. Actually, what's funny is that I ordered those two discs from Amazon Germany like almost 2 weeks earlier than this one, but they both came in around the same time. So I'm still waiting Aliens. I got the Italian version of the Aliens director's cut, and that one hasn't come yet. So probably shipping from different places, who knows. But anyway, so this is the Justice League, and it's a 2-disc, because the movie's so long, they split over 2 discs. So you have disc 1, disc 2, and then you also have the films on the Blu-rays, disc 1, disc 2. So it's a pretty standard set there for Justice League. Yeah, but definitely really excited to give those a watch. And so what I did finish up watching was, I don't remember if I said that I finished watching Annabella's Viva, but I did. And it was okay. I mean, it was interesting because of just the retro nature of it all. You know, showing what things were like back in the early 70s. Well, I don't know if they were actually like that, but it's kind of through the combination of films and myth and popular culture that things were kind of like that. You know, hippie communes, a lot of sex, drugs, and rock and roll, that kind of stuff. And was this? I mean, was it worth getting? I don't know. I mean, this will probably fall into the realm of those films that, you know, if I hadn't have bought it, I probably wouldn't have missed it. But I have it. It's in the collection, so it is what it is. I also finished watching The Beyond by Lucio Fulci, and it's, you know, a pretty good Fulci zombie horror film. Great effects, you know, very spooky, eerie setting. Definitely not at the level of, you know, the ones that have been put out by Blue Underground, House by the Cemetery, New York Ripper, those films. It's probably, and Zombie, it's definitely below those, but still interesting, still very creepy. It moves by pretty fast, and it definitely ends on a really interesting downbeat note. So yeah, it's definitely worth watching. I mean, I wouldn't go out of the way to get it, but if you can find it as a deal, you want to pick it up, great. And kind of what I want to finish on was kind of musing on Django, and I was kind of wondering, you know, why I wasn't into Django as much as maybe some other people, and I was thinking, well, maybe it was because you know, interest in Django had resurfaced primarily due to Quentin Tarantino's film Django Unchained, and clearly he was a big fan of Django and that whole genre of spaghetti westerns, and that definitely influenced his creation of Django Unchained, right down to the clear copying of the name for the character. I mean, it's obviously not the same character that Jamie Foxx portrays, but the intent is to harken back to the original Franco Nero Django. I never watched Django Unchained, and I think probably because at the time I was not interested in seeing Quentin Tarantino doing a Western or Southern. I think he calls it a Southern because it's not really set in the West, but it has all the feelings and the atmosphere of a Western, but set in the American South. So it's a Southern, basically. And I didn't want to see him go there. I didn't want to see him kind of venture away from what he was doing before with the gangster films, the more modern set films, because this was after Kill Bill, and he kind of wandered around a lot after Kill Bill, um, and so I really didn't have much interest in seeing it, and I was wondering if maybe if I had seen it, if maybe that would have influenced me to go um, look into Django, look into that um, very, I guess, specific niche of spaghetti western genre, because I was always in love with the Sergio Leone, Clint Eastwood spaghetti western films, Man with a No Name and Once Upon a Time in the West. But to me, I felt the Leone films were different in that they were much more in the zeitgeist, in the cultural zeitgeist of America, mainly because Eastwood was in it. But the films have a much stronger um, mythical feel to it. There's a huge feeling of semantic grandeur, especially with Leone's direction and the Ennio Morricone score. It all adds together. The films are longer. Like I said, they're just much more epic feeling. And the Sergio Corbucci films, whether it be Django or other films that aped the Django concept, they were all much shorter. Um, Definitely much more foreign feeling. And I think that's the feeling that I got from watching Django, was that it felt foreign to me. Even though it was supposed to be set in America, between the United States and Mexico, nothing about it really felt American. I couldn't watch the English dub because the sync was so bad, and and the dubbing sound and the dubbing vocals didn't even sound like they were recorded on the set, basically. And to me, one of the things that pulls me out of any film with dubbing is when the dubbing doesn't sound like it was recorded live. When it was recorded in a studio, it has that feel. You can feel that, like you can hear that the sound doesn't sound right. And I know that all of these films, the dialogue is recorded in post. So very rarely is anything ever actually recorded live. But they still make the effort to make it sound like it was recorded live, because a person's sound just sounds different outdoors than indoors or inside a studio. Back then the microphones and the recording technology wasn't as good, and clearly you can tell the difference. You can tell the difference between a dubbing track that was done with care, that was done so that they tried to make sure that the mouth motions of the actor matched the sounds that they're making. I mean, like, you can't make it perfect, but you can try to get it so that when I start talking, and then the dubbing actor, he starts talking exactly the same time and he stops talking. So a lot of that is down to the dubbing script writer, to make sure that he's writing the words as best he can to match the actual mouth movements of the on-screen actor. But for a lot of these films, they're cheap, they're throwaway, so they just get somebody to slap together a script, and they just get some guys to go up there and read the lines, and they don't really care that it matches. They just want to get out there. So when you see a film like a film restoration in which they've redone the dubbing, and this is one of those things that I don't think people appreciate as much, is that when they put the care into writing a better dubbing script, or even just doing the subtitles better, helps out a lot in terms of how the film translates and is absorbed by the viewer. But the problem being is that with Django, it was so foreign feeling because everyone was Italian, and the thing is that they looked Italian. Nobody looked American, and they got the swarthier, the darker skinned Italians to play Mexicans, and I don't know if maybe they were Spaniards. I don't know, but like in that case, it was okay. But they had these, but pretty much everyone else who's supposed to be um, American, and kind of really doesn't look American. And that was one of the reasons why I always liked the Leone Eastwood films, and probably why they are popular here is that you have American actors in them with their own voices, and then even the other actors, the non-American, the non-English speaking actors, they still did a reasonably good job at dubbing them so that it looked like the words, the English words, were coming out of the mouths, even though they weren't speaking the English. Whereas with Django, it didn't look like they cared at all. And it's clear that, you know, the Corbucci Django films are lower, are a peg lower than the Leone films in terms of that quality, in terms of that mythic feeling, and also I think that the other problem was just the like I mentioned in my previous video, just the lack of believability with the setting. Like the town's all completely muddy. There isn't a single person in this town except the town standing, and the only thing that's active is the whorehouse slash bar that this guy Nathaniel's running. But you don't get any sense of like, why is this thing even existing? Like, how is this town even being supported if the only thing that's going on is this, you know, is this whorehouse and bar? So yeah, it's just a lot of those things just kind of made me not get into Django. I think that even with the coming out era, I think other than just the nostalgia appeal and the fact that it is an Arrow 4K film, I think a lot of people bought it for that. But if it wasn't an Arrow 4K, I probably wouldn't have gone and bought Django. Having watched it, I get the impression of Django as being like kind of a cheaper ripoff of the Leone films, and to some extent they probably were. So, yeah, that's my impression of, that's kind of my fuller impression of Django, kind of my feelings on it. So I think I'll wrap that up for now, and I am going to go watch Loki episode 2 and hopefully watch a few minutes of these films, and I'll give you a review and let you know what I think. Thanks.